This video shows you how to rationalize a denominator, and we use this when we have a function with a square root in the denominator. So we can't have square roots in our denominator, so we need to rationalize this. So what we're going to do is multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. So our equation that we need to simplify is the square root of 10 minus the square root of 3 divided by the square root of 10 plus the square root of 3. And the way that we do this is we need to multiply the equation by 1. And what we're going to replace 1 with is the conjugate of the denominator divided by itself. So to get conjugates, we keep this first value, we keep this second value, and we just change the sign in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this by the square root of 10, keep the square root of 10. I change this to a minus square root of 3. So I'm going to multiply this equation by the square root of 10 minus the square root of 3 divided by the square root of 10 minus the square root of 3. So now we just, we multiply, we do this in the numerator, right? And we do this also to the denominator. So we're just going to multiply straight across. So I'm going to FOIL. So I get the square root of 10 squared. It's the first term, square root of 10 times square root of 10. And then I get the square root of 10 times minus square root of 3. So I get minus square root of 10 square root of 3. And then I do the inner, and I get minus the square root of 10 times the square root of 3. And then I do the last term, and I get minus square root of 3. So I get plus the square root of 3 squared. Plus the square root of 3 squared. And then I do the same thing to the denominator. So I get the square root of 10 squared. And then the outer term gives me minus square root of 10 times the square root of 3. And the inner term gives me plus the square root of 10 times the square root of 3. And then the last term gives me minus the square root of 3 squared. Okay, so you notice the reason we do this is these middle terms cancel out. And what I'm left with is the square root of 10 squared is 10. And then I have minus square root of 10 times square root of 3 is 30. So I have 2 of those. So minus 2 square root of 30. And the square root of 3 squared is 3 divided by square root of 10 squared is 10. These terms disappear. These two terms added together gives me 0. And then I have minus the square root of 3 squared is 3. So this can't be simplified. The square root of 30, there are no perfect squares in 30. So I just leave this as it is. So I can add my like terms. So 10 plus 3 is 13. So I get 13 minus 2 square root of 30 divided by 10 minus 3 is 7. And now this answer is fine. So this is the answer that we put into ALEKS.